Hey paper crafters, thank you so much for joining me today. I love that you took the time to pop by my channel, check out the video that I've got going, and hopefully stay and poke around a little bit. I'm really excited to be able to offer some videos now and then and share my love of paper crafting. So I hope you find something that you enjoy and come back to see me another time. Bye-bye. Hey paper crafting friends, thanks for tuning in today. I'm really excited to share with you a layout that I'm going to work on using the April 2021 Kiwi Club Kit. This kit's called Over the Rainbow, and there are several people collaborating on this kit this month. So make sure you go into my description box, check out the links, follow those to some of the other videos in the hop, and just make sure that you leave a comment. Every time you leave a comment on somebody's video, that's an entry into the monthly giveaway that we're doing. And that giveaway will allow you to choose a set of Kiwi Lane templates of your choice. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. So let me show you the pages that I'm going to feature from the kit today. And then I have a brief public service announcement to share with you. So here are the papers that I am going to focus on today. It's so fun how many bright colors are included in this month's kit. If you look at the back sides, there are some really fun patterns as well. But I am going to be using just some portions of these pages for the layout that I have in mind today. Definitely going with this rainbow-inspired template. I think I'm going to pull in this card. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but a good amount of it actually is. I'm going to pull in this little journaling block that just says Happy Memories. And then this little card that says Happy Just Because. There were also some rainbow themed enamel dots this month, so I'll be maybe pulling in a little bit of that. We'll see. Okay. All right, so here's the PSA. I broke one of the #1 rules of scrapbooking the other day. I was in here playing with this kit, just kind of looking through it, and my whole workspace table was absolutely covered with stuff. I had my laptop in here because I was watching some Grey's Anatomy while I was working, and lo and behold, knocked over my big water cup. Why the lid wasn't on, I don't know. I definitely know better, but water went everywhere, all across my table. I was like literally standing here throwing albums and stacks of paper and future classes on the ground, screaming for towels so that my husband or my son would come and help me. But this, honestly, this was the biggest mistake, the biggest sacrifice of that whole thing. Everything else turned out fine, but this paper is super warped and wobbly. I might be able to use it for some photo matting, we'll see, but it was a paper that I was intending to use as a background, but that's not going to happen. There's no way I'm building on this and sticking it in my album. So anyway, I'm sure that you know not to have open water in your workspace, but so do I. So I'm just sharing the reminder. All right, I am going to get something laid out, and I'm really excited to share this month's project with you. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. So here's the layout that I've got in mind for today. And I really wanted this blue background, and I shared that I had originally used the pattern one. This is going to be fine as a substitute. I want it to be just kind of a sky blue, and that's because I'm really pulling in these rainbow themed templates, and I'm going to kind of carry that feel across the page. So this is a lot of layered stuff happening. So let me just kind of explain what I've got going. The background for the page is going to be based off of the a la carte portrait template. This square here that has that scalloped edge. What I'm envisioning is doing that in white, and I'll share that with you in just a moment. And I will do these corners the way they are, but then I just want to continue this scallop, and it's going to continue all the way across the layout. So I won't do this side the way it ends here. I'm just going to keep this scallop going, and I'll just use that scallop to keep tracing. So this page will have a finished edge here, and the scallop will go across. I want to do it all the way across this one, actually terminating at the edge, so it won't ever have this edge used. So I will show you that, so I can I might be able to explain it better when I show you how I'm going to cut it. So with that running all behind and having that scallop, it's just going to be peeking out in a couple of spots, and that's okay with me. These tags that are over here, you'll notice I stopped a little short, and that's because I think I want to bring this one down to this position as well, just to kind of bookend it with the sharp traditional kind of dovetail. I want to do these in each color of the rainbow from that paper palette that I shared. So that's going to be here, a nice bright fun pop. And then over on this side, I was thinking I'm going to use the rings to create a rainbow as well. Now this is going to require a little bit of fussy cutting, and I'll share that with you when I do it, so you can kind of see how I use the rings. I have a vision in my mind. I'm hoping it works out the way I'm thinking. Okay, and then up here we've got the a la carte shine. So I'm just going to put a bright little fun sun here, the little cloud, and then the rest is photo mats. I am picturing replacing some of these photo mats with the journaling cards that I shared. So this Happy Memories one should be perfect right here. That's my thought, with the rainbow coming up right next to it. And then this Happy Just Because, I actually think I'm going to use this cloud template for this one. That'll fit really well. Leave me some fun little red scraps. Okay, so that's my thought there. And then it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but a good amount of it is. A good amount of it actually is. This 3x4 photo mat fits really well on there. And I think that's going to just be a nice, beautiful pop of red right here on this layout. I don't know what I'm going to do for photo mats yet. I think I'm going to honestly get everything else done, and then I'll figure that part out. So let me rearrange things a bit. I'll get some white cardstock out to show you what I am envisioning with this a la carte portrait. You could really easily duplicate this look using a scallops border. So I'm excited to get this going, and I just can't wait to see how all the fun colors come together. All right, so I'm going to get started on tracing out this background that I have envisioned using this a la carte portrait. If you know me, you know that saving paper is my thing. So I don't want to necessarily position this exactly like I would picture it on the layout. I want to make sure that I do it in a way that I can save some of this paper. So I am going to think about my spacing here for a second. I know that I want my tags sticking out the side, and I know that I want the rest of this to run across the rest of the page. So I can move it up or down to save some paper, but I just need to make sure that I leave the space for the tags to come out, and that I leave the space for the photos that I want to put on here. So I know that I had the 4x4 and the 4x6, so I just want to double check my width real quick. I think I'm going to go just a tiny bit more that way. All right. And then I can go ahead and scooch this up more towards the top of my page before I trace this. So what I am envisioning is getting these corners that are on the left, and then I want to trace all along the top here. Don't trace this corner. And then we're going to come down this left-hand side, get this corner, and then I'm going to go ahead and trace the scallops on the bottom. Again, don't get this corner, okay? Then you can just shift it a little bit so that you can continue to trace that scalloped top and bottom, just like this. If you do not have this a la carte portrait, because it was part of a club kit a little early on in the process, you could use just your regular scallops to do this, and that's going to work just fine. Okay. Because I ended here on about the middle of a scallop, I want to start this next page about the middle of a scallop. That way I can kind of continue that across that 2-page layout. I always like things to feel like they're really unified. So if something's going to carry across, I'm real careful about my placement. So again, all I'm doing here is tracing the top and the bottom of this template. I'm not tracing the sides because what I want to create is just a scalloped piece that's going to run across my layout. I have so much going on the right side with the rainbows and the sun and the cloud that I don't want to add this busyness into the mix. And that's why I'm not worried about finishing this piece on the right side. I want to just go ahead and carry this nice scallop right off the page like that. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get this piece and this piece cut out. And I'm going to lay that layout out again with the templates on the blue background just to make sure that this has the feel that I have in my head. So I'll be right back with that. So this is how that came together, and this is perfect for what I had in my mind. So we've got enough of that beautiful scallop showing that you know that that's what's happening, which I like. I don't have to see all of it. If you really want to see all of it, then you can make this a little bit taller by doing exactly what you saw me do to make it wider. You can just trace what you're going to trace to get your top edge and your side. And then before you trace that corner, you could scoot this down a little bit if you want it to cover more of your background. I want this to feel like a blue sky with these kind of fluffy white clouds going on. And as long as I've got a hint of that scallop happening and it's showing through in different spots, I'm good. So I am really happy with how this is coming together so far. My next big thing is going to be figuring out exactly how I want to do this rainbow. So I will share that with you as well so that you can see kind of the process that I go through for that. This one ring here would be used for both the red and the orange. And so I'll have to think about exactly how I want to do that. And then the yellow and green, and then the blue and the purple. So that's going to be my next thing. And the tags are going to be fine. That's not going to be a problem. I'll be cutting one from each of the colors that I use. So I'm not going to show you how I cut those. I think that part you're going to be great with. So it's just this rainbow that I want to make sure I get right. So I will be back to start walking through that process with you. For each one of these papers that I'm going to use, I need to be thoughtful about what else I'm going to use it for in the future. So I want to make sure I'm watching the back sides. This one, when I'm ready to use it for a border or something like that, I'm probably more likely to use it going across my page. So that means that I can cut from the bottom here and not cause a problem for myself later. I know that I don't need the entire ring, obviously, and I didn't even really feature half. So I'm going to bring it down to about here. I know that the way that I laid out this rainbow, that the ends are going to be tucking behind photos. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and trace, the whole thickness of this ring. This is rings 4. But what I'm envisioning is, like for the red, it's going to be the upper part. So I'll go ahead and cut that upper piece, and then see if I just scoot it down, it's not going to work right. And then I will follow this curve line and just cut it about half thickness. That's my thought process. And then for the orange, I'll do the same thing. This paper is not going to matter where I cut it from. This one has some directionality to it, but it's not a strong enough pattern that I'm worried about it. So again, same ring for this one, rings 4. Trace the whole thing. I'll cut this bottom trace line, and then I'll use this and go kind of midway. This actually might be a good opportunity for me to use those tracing rings to get the size that I want. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here for a second. So give me a second. Let's try this. This green one, is that going to add, let's see. Okay, that's close. I think the turquoise is going to be a little too big. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, you guys. So let me go back to this red. If I line the rings 3 up and then put this tracing ring underneath, that's going to give me about the right size for the red. The orange is a little bit smaller than I would have wanted it, so I'll have to think about how to adjust that. But I think I'm onto something using these tracing rings and then these to be able to get 2 different widths out of here if I want a line to cut on perfectly. Otherwise, I can just do the tracing and eyeball that midline. Let me get these 2 pieces cut and then we'll see how we're coming along so far. Yep, that's gonna work. So what I ended up doing was, for the orange one, I traced the rings 3, the outside edge of the rings 3, and then I used this turquoise tracing circle to get my line, to get it about the right width. The red, I ended up doing exactly what I had showed you with how I traced it and then cutting. So let's try, let's see, red, orange, yellow. What's on this side? Oh, I love this paper. I probably would go this way with this one. So let's use this side. So for the ring, this one, I know I'm going to want the rings 3 to be my outer edge for sure. And then I got to think about how I want to do this one. So I think with the rings 2, I can get that line with the turquoise and the rings 2. Hopefully that's about right. Yeah. So I'll use this piece with that. And then the green, let's see. I'd probably go this way. So the green, I'm going to want, let's see. This is going to be the line. Oof, that's hard to see. And then I can use the tracing rings. Man, I'm glad I remembered these things. I know I just featured them in a recent video, but I'm not using them a ton yet. I'm still kind of making them into part of my norm here. Okay, the blue. We're going to want the top of this. And then I'll have to think about if I have a circle that's the right size to use the tracing disc on here. So I'll look for that in just a minute. The back of this isn't directional. I don't think the front's gonna matter a whole lot directionality wise. It's got all these umbrellas on it. So I'm not too worried about this one. All right, let me check for a circle that is the right size to go in here. That'll give us that line, that shape to trace on. Okay, if you are lucky enough to have tiny shapes, that circle is perfect. So I can go ahead and place that one for the purple and get my line for my upper edge. And I can do the same thing on the blue, right on the edge of that tiny shapes, 3T. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get all of these rainbow pieces cut out and make some other decisions as far as the sun and that kind of thing. And then I'll pop back on and share where I'm at. Let's see how it's all coming together. I'm really excited to see these bright colors. I'm going to start with these tags. So I did what I had said. I went ahead and cut one from each of the really bright colors to create this kind of rainbow palette. And my idea is to just tuck them under the edge on this side. And I'll do some perfecting on placement later, but just kind of tucking out like this, all these different fun shapes, something along that line. It's just a fun little rainbow banner coming out. And then you saw me cut all these rainbow pieces. So I'm hoping that these will just kind of tuck right underneath the edge of this photo mat and this photo mat, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, if those are cleaned up or not. I'm trying to decide if I want to have a little bit of white in between these. So I have not made up my mind about that, but let me just give you a view of the rough placement. Be something like that. I've got this journaling card that I want to put there. I'm going to pull this up so we can see it with the ends tucked under. All right. Yeah, isn't that fun? Oh my gosh, I love that. This one, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but a good amount of it actually is. I want this one here. I made a little sunshine with that shine a la carte. And then cut the happy just because into the cloud shape. So I did see a really darling layout done with a sun. It wasn't this one, it was something different, but it had the cutest little face on it, just with a couple little pink cheeks and then some little eyes and a smile. I might do that to this sun. I just thought it was really cute, and with this little saying, happy just because, I think that fits really well. Seeing this blue right here is a little bit matchy for me, so I'm thinking I will probably cut one more cloud that's just a white cloud to kind of layer with this one, just because I think it'll make it pop, and then I can elevate this one on some foam tape. So the only decision really that's left at this point is photo mats. And I will tell you, the first thing that comes to mind is this. I absolutely adore this paper. So I almost hate to use it for photo mats because all you're going to end up seeing is just a small bit of it. And it's really going to use almost a whole sheet to do 2 4x6s, 2 4x5s, and 2 4x4s. So as much as I love this and it would look great, I cannot decide if I want to give up this paper. The other option would be a light blue, and that would just kind of almost blend I've got another sheet of this that was provided to be a background sheet. For me, that red is too much, but I could do the dark blue. That would look nice. Okay, so I will have to kind of think about that. I'm definitely more willing to give up this sheet than this one, even though this would look amazing. I've got some other things in mind for this. So I am gonna work on getting those photo mats cut. I will get all of this put together off camera. I did do just the lightest bit of sponging right along the edge. So using that vintage photo Distress Ink by Tim Holtz, but I did it really lightly on this because I really wanted the colors to pop and be the star. So at the end of the video, there'll be a couple of close-ups of some of the embellishments and things, but otherwise, this is a wrap for today. So I really appreciate the time that you took to join me. I hope that you are having a great day, whatever you're doing, and that you got some good ideas and something to play with. So I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.